Well, we're at the halfway point of Global Champions League here in Rabat, and we are standing by for the upcoming second round. A very intriguing opening round that's all from a championship perspective, a top four perspective, and a fight at the bottom perspective. Lots of storylines floating around. Teams that are hoping to jump well have fences down, their closest rivals jumping superbly well. And because of that, all of these elements have now meant that the shake-up on the table may be a real scenario come the end of the night. This is what the standings look like at the end of GCL round one, as we get to take a look at the table as to how things ended. One double clear turned into two double clears, turned into three double clears. And because of that, we now find ourselves in a situation where there is a three-way at the top of the table with three teams all jumping double clear. And of those double clears, one might be surprised the most to see the Saint-Tropez Pirates up there. Razorback International, powered by Horse Gym, involved in one of those fights. And Madrid in Motion doing superbly well to find themselves in that top collection. Rome Gladiators have jumped well. Falcons United will be very happy with their performance, because not only do they have just a single fence down, but their nearest rivals, the likes of the Cannes Stars, the likes of the Shanghai Swans, the likes then of even, one would argue, the Prague Lions, all having fences down. And because of that, the four of Falcons United is a very, very important scoreline. That is how they look at the moment. And let's see if we can get some thoughts and some reaction from the start list. In case you are new to Global Champions League, managers have the opportunity at the halfway point to make changes. They can bring in different riders. They can bring in different horses for the upcoming second round. Let's go to Dan Strange for the first time in this pre-show. Dan, talk to us about what the start list looks like. Who has made changes? What stands out for you?
Well, firstly, who hasn't made changes? Three teams make no change. Significantly, the top team, Falcons United, top in the championship, that is. They don't change anything. Marcus Aining couldn't change anything because only Flower Girl is fit to be ridden. How will Flower Girl go with riding 2 rounds back-to-back? Something that horse hasn't done this season. Went in the second round in New York. So we see for Falcons United how that pressure tells on them. Riesenbeck International, they stick with Marco Kutscher. They stick with Philip Weishaupt on Catelli and Oreo, respectively, so no change there. And Paris Panthers, bottom team in the GCL, they don't change a thing. Interestingly, for Scandinavian Viking, Sarah Vinkrokova rides 8-year-old Rock and Roll MXL. Now, it has round one form in the GCL, having gone clear earlier in the season. Can it do so? The 8-year-old in the second round here. Cannes Stars. Now, I mentioned in the show earlier, if you're watching right at the start, Vienna, when Anastasia Nielsen came in for them in round 2, that day, 12 faults, it didn't pay off and they didn't podium. I said the dividend would pay off at some point in the future. Does it today? They've gone bold, they've gone brave. Jana Frederica Meyer Zimmerman doesn't ride in the team in round 2, and Anastasia Nielsen does on Action Man. For Madrid in Motion, one of the three teams to go double clear in round 1. Manuel Fernandez Sado, he's on Ezilis Dumesnil, and Edu Aznar moves on to Legend, his top horse, after that double clear. Now, Rome Gladiators, 16th in the league, finished 4th in round 1, and Peder Fredriksson can move on to Al Capone, who has 3 GCL clear rounds so far this season. The top team, Saint-Tropez Pirates, well, Philippe Rosier is on Dirty Sweet. Thibaut Philipparts moves on to Leandro MDB. Now, that horse, Leandro, is another 9-year-old, and we saw him earlier on ride Colano and go clear on that 9-year-old too. Can they do it again? Can Saint-Tropez get their first place since Cannes? Lots of changes, Mark. Back over to you.
All right, Dan Strange, thank you very much. Has Thibaut Philipparts not been one of the most refreshing signs of the 2025 season? The youngest of the now current Philipparts brothers. Don't be alarmed, there is still another Philipparts to come, but not just in the limelight just yet. Think of the pride that Ludo must have watching all of his sons week in and week out at these 5-star shows here in the Global Champions League, on the Longines Global Champions Tour, jumping the way they do. And need I remind you that Ludo Philipparts actually won the first ever Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix back in 2006. So a very proud, healthy lifeline, family line of Philippots riders. Now, let's talk about Basel Cosmopolitans. We see Andreas in the studio many times. Time for us now to have Christian Skau in the studio with us to have a conversation. Let's get some thoughts, by the way, on GCL round one. Different kind of round. Give me your thoughts on how Basel performed. Some fences going down, but maybe a bit of bad luck involved there too.
Yeah, some fences went down, a bit of unluck. I mean, both rounds were good. Andreas did a good round, had the last one down. Was a pity, yeah. Geraldine rode today Cusito. He's only 9 years old and first time jumping so big with her. So I think she did really great. She was a bit deep into the triple combination and had 2 rails down there. So unluck, but in all, okay result, yeah.
You do training with Geraldine. Talk to me about her as a rider, because I know everyone is very impressed with her.
Yeah.
She is an outstanding young talent. Talk to me about some of the things that you two are working on at home. What is the feeling that you get from Geraldine?
Well, it's fantastic to work with Geraldine. I mean, she's young, but she's so focused and she's ambitious and she has a great talent. And yeah, so we just work on her basics and try to do her ready for the big stuff she's doing. And yeah, so it's great.
What does the stable look like for Geraldine now? Because she jumps a 9-year-old in round 2. She now comes on to HHS Cornetta, still only 10 as well.
Yeah.
It tells us that there's a lot of good future prospects. What else does she have around her, or are these the 2 main primary horses she's got?
Yeah, but like you say, they're both still young. She has Long John at home, still resting a bit after Europeans and so, but will come strongly back, luckily. And then she has a strong string of younger ones, which
is great for the future. I know she's a young rider, but that tells me a story of Geraldine for the next 5 years, one can say, is set because of these young horses that she can ride for the next few seasons.
Yeah, that's our plan. And we have to do the best management as possible and then keep them ready for the big task. They're ahead of them. So that's our plan.
Can you talk to us about what the conversation has been like coming to Rabat, maybe with yourself and Geraldine or Andreas? What has the team been talking about? Because there is a conversation that maybe there is an outside shout for Basel Cosmopolitans here to jump up the table. Talk to me about what's been going on behind the scenes.
Well, behind the scenes, we focus on, to come and perform as good as possible and focus on our own thing instead of, speaking about what other teams are doing and so on. We focus on what we are good at and then try to deliver some clear rounds and then we see where the result will take us.
Okay. Well, best of luck for the upcoming second round.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for giving us some thoughts on what is happening with Basel Cosmopolitans. Geraldine Straumann makes a horse change. HHS Cornetta comes in to the ring. Andreas Skau subs out Billy Matador and brings in Napoli as well. Let's get some thoughts and some reaction. Go back to Dan Strange, Guido Grimaldi and the Paris Panthers. Let's get some thoughts. Dan.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I'm down here just in front of VIP with Guido Grimaldi of Paris Panthers. Guido, firstly, let's talk about round 1 really quickly. It was a tough round, but you said you're having to develop your horsepower. How did you view it?
Yeah, it was anyway a tough round because we haven't seen so many clear. The horse jumped very good. At the end was my fault 2 times. Maybe 1 time was a little bit his fault on number 8. But for the rest, the horse is still very green, but he's doing his utmost in order to achieve. But let's hope.
You stick with the horse, Chanel Bleu, in the second round. What do you view of what Giuliano has built for round 2? So it's going to be bigger. Is it tougher?
Yes, absolutely. As Giuliano is used to, like in Rome, the first course was a little bit easier in order to have some clears. But anyhow, we have to remember that we haven't seen so many clear first round. Second round is another level, of course. I mean, also it's a Grand Prix qualification for Sunday. So 1 to 2, basically it's a 7 strides, a little bit forward. Then from 3 to 4 again, 7 strides. Maybe it should be good to turn inside the number 13. Then immediately you have an Oxer coming back. Then 6 strides for the combination, which is very delicate. Then that is very delicate. Of course, number 7 coming from the turn. Then 8 strides, a little bit forward. Again 8. Or even 9, but it depends a little bit from the horse. Then from 10 to the combination is very difficult because there is, of course, the door, and then the horse might see a little bit the door outside, but then might be 8 stride for the combination, short 4, and then you have 2 options. Either 6 go inside, but I think I will go for the 7 strides outside, and let's hope.
You said to me yesterday your horse can get a little bit hot and you have to stay very cold on him. If you're clear over 12, How do you put ice on the brain going into 13?
I will tell you at the end. It's going to be difficult too. But I guess that I will try to be cold.
Guido, it's an important round for a lot of teams, including Paris Panthers. Thank you so much and good luck. Thank you for your time and good luck, Mark. Back over to you in the studio.
It's always a very big smile on the face of Guido Grimaldi from the Paris Panthers. Thank you very much, Mr. Grimaldi. We'll see how that Paris will do a little bit later on this afternoon as we get ready for the start of Global Champions League Round 2. They find themselves on 14 penalties and they are engaged in a League of the Last kind of fight with the teams that are around them. The Rome Gladiators are involved in that conversation. Some might say that the Monaco Comets, even the Doha Falcons are involved in that conversation. Who then is going to finish in 17th place? And what we've seen now in 2025, because of the 17 teams that are involved in the Global Champions League, only 16 go to the GC playoffs in Prague next month. So one of those teams is going to be bitterly disappointed. From a virtual ranking perspective, if things were to end at the GCL Round 2 as they did in GCL Round 1, this is how it would look. Falcons United would now be the out-and-out leaders. They would only, by the way, have a 5-point lead, but it would be Falcons United, Cannes Stars, and look at how Razorback International would now jump above Shanghai Swans into third place, setting up a final stage in Riyadh beautifully. But for now, there is still a whole second round of Rabat to follow. So stay with us here live in Morocco for GCL Round 2, Stage 15 of the 2025 season.
Welcome to Rabat and to the Longines Global Champions Tour of 2025. It is the penultimate stop of the season. Round 15 out of 16. And welcome to Rabat, to Morocco, to Africa, as we get set here on day one for this, of course, tremendous competition, of course, that will involve the Global Champions League and, of course, the individuals looking to qualify for that Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix here on Sunday. The weather is perfect and there's a breeze, keeping everybody nice and cool when they need to. Well, cool outside, not inside. The action down on the arena floor is as hot as ever, as there is a huge amount to play for. Plenty of people up there enjoying the hospitalities and wonderful seats and places to be able to enjoy. There is a fabulous feel around the showground and around the city, and it's certainly been opened once again for the second year in a row with open arms. Of course, just about set now and already put together by that man, Milano Pizzani. 13 numbered obstacles, 16 jumping efforts, 80 seconds if it becomes relevant if the time allowed. 500 metres, decent length, of course, no doubt about it. And of course, this is the big one on a Friday afternoon, because it is the big money. It is, of course, €105,500 worth of money. And of course, we're set up at a height of 1.60 meters. So, riders have had their opportunity to have a little look around. The Lazarus there, just taking the sun out of his eyes, making sure he knows exactly where he's going, as do all of them. They've had that chance to go on out and have a little look at what is coming their way here over the next couple of hours. So, Caterina Rombo, and looks like Simon Deleste out there as well, just filling in the world as to what's going on. As you can see, the teams certainly would pay a lot of attention to this course, not only from an individual standpoint, but of course from you, they're going to need to know where they're going to get the best results possible. We're going to kick off with the individuals, of course they all count, but there's the likes of there's of course Better, and that is one of the very important buildings here. That is the Grand Theatre. Here's the start list as they come forward individually, and it all begins with one of the home riders with Absalom Longines, Petronella Anderson. Good helping of local riders. There's an Olympic champion in the form of Christian Kukuk and a multiple winner of the Longines Global Champions Tour Championship in Edwina Thompson-Alexander. Well into the teams, but already plenty of Grand Prix winners there, like Loli Mulatto, who's already had that win this year. Christian Ullmann from Germany, of course, a multiple winner having in his career already, taken 8 Grand Prix wins. There's another that has won titles of Grand Prix in the past. Germany's still been in fabulous form this year. Scott Brash already 2 times a Grand Prix winner this season. And you look down there, Simon Deleste, another that has been on the winner's rostrum this year. Peter Frederiksen, as I've already mentioned, Italy well represented as well. Keep an eye out for Eduardo Alvarez as well. This year he's got legend. Last year he won the Grand Prix here on the Sunday afternoon. He's got happy memories. There will be debugged in a parts for the team, and as an individual, he was second to pick up the golden ticket in New Jersey. So there's lots of stars in town, lots of big names making sure they were here to be part of this one. Just one more leg after this in Riyadh in a couple of weeks' time before we then go to the playoffs, to the finals for the Global Champions League, and of course the Super Grand Prix as well, which will take place in Prague this year. So we'll come to the Global Champions League in due course. Let's concern ourselves with the individual honours in the opening stages, 13 of them, before we turn to the league and that. But as I mentioned, we've got some talent, and there is plenty of talent. There's a fabulous tour of events that takes place here in Morocco between September and October, and this is the perfect crescendo of it all, with the Longines Global Champions Tour coming back for the 2nd year in a row. And to kick things off, it is one of the home riders, in fact, with Mr. Eclipse, Absalom Longines, and the 13-year-old Belgium warm blood, as the first to go by Diamant Desameli. It's a rider that, of course, has ridden at championship level, world championships in the past for Morocco, recently being very much part of the tour here with his horses, jumping this one on the Nations Cup team for his nation here in Rabat just a few weeks back. Time allowed, as you can see, 80 seconds. Let's have a little look at this track as it unfolds. It's a nice big arena, and Juliano using it all, 7 strides from 1 to 2. Let's move up a little bit on the 7 there. Round to this long side of the arena. One and one, upright parallel. Decent stretch coming out, 160 wide. Turn back, which I think is absolutely key. Coming back for the water trade to this parallel crisscross poles. You into the final line, the double. First part down, 2 strides, then 5 strides down and over the last part of that, and 1 more fence still to John. Quite a narrow, skinny little fence in the background squad as well, so it's a total of 12. 75.05 on the clock, well inside the time, so that doesn't be any concern. But it is 12 penalties for the first out in this second competition. 3 more still to go, 4 more still to go, even for the Moroccan riders. And your phones getting in early on the opening day to get a glimpse of what's going on here. You can see what I mean. Not only is it big and tall, it's really narrow, but the wings, of course, give it a sort of misconception of width. Sweden. And Petronella Anderson riding with Longines, the WNS, the mare by E. Toulon. With a Zorocco Blue VDL mare that has in a championship ride during the summer. Saw them in London. She rode that day in front of the Royal Hospital Chelsea in the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix, and immediately just making sure she gets up and running into a decent rhythm. She ended up a little short on the 6 and has the final part down as well, so it's expensive. Giving herself plenty of room. She knows she's had 2 down. Clips the last fence nicely though, but it is 3 in total that have fallen. Final time was 73.82, a little bit faster than we saw from the first to go, but Petronella Anderson showing that it is going to take a lot of jumping. It's going to be easy to make mistakes at any given point. You have to think their way through this track. Saw this man a little bit earlier on who put in a lovely clear round in the opening class today. He's got a lot of experience. Big shows in Europe. It is Vincent Bourgogne, Ryan Cadente, year-old Cadente. Into the Diamant de Semelimet. Has been back at home here in Morocco for the last couple of months, competing in that Runner World Cup and Nations Cup events. But as I say, certainly had a busy summer jumping in some big 5 stars in Europe. Now in the first class today, he took the approach where he really wasn't looking to try and race the time, but he was looking to jump the fences clear, and it stood him well. He gave us an opening clear. It's not going to work in this class, but it's a completely different ball game now. It's so much bigger, tougher all round. Plenty of scope through the combination though. Gentle little rub coming out of the Global Champions League double. Oh, he's a little bit offline. He went a little bit wide, managed to get back across. So 77.94 on the clock. Pretty time as you would have anticipated, but it is a score of 8, which 3 have gone, and it's the best so far. You can see the very bit of a grimace across the face. He looks back at what's taken place. I think this was the one he was perhaps looking back at. Barely touched. And watching on. We'll get back to Morocco in due course. Meanwhile, having already delivered a perfect clear round for Madrid Emotion in the opening round of the Global Champions League, they swapped him out to have an all-Spanish lineup in the second round and giving him the chance to ride as an individual in this one. Jack Whitaker, Jack JL, this quite beautiful stallion. Came to Jack in the springtime, was formerly with Jonathan Dixon, and has gone on and proved to be quite a star with that 4th place finish in the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix in Wiesenbeck, which took place in September, and of course he was then on British team duty to help them to victory as well. He was always pushing a little bit. It's one of those really awkward parallels that you're turning right back to it, you're turning left away from it. It's got the crisscross poles. It's sort of forcing you and trying to tempt you not to be straight when you get there. And unfortunately, from Jack's point of view, he's ended up on a score of 8. This is the last down. 73.55. The clear came earlier. It's 8 this time round. Jack W and Jack J. More and more people arriving and enjoying. It's happening here this afternoon. Whitaker, maybe have another little look here. It's just sort of looked to be sort of moving a little bit through the outside shoulder on the turn. So he had to go with the stride he'd seen. Best of the rounds at the moment, 73.55, fastest we've seen, and a total of 8. Well, next to go, Ensign Irish rider being needed by the Empire today, the New York Empire, sticking with their riders from the early rounds. So Mikey Pender riding as an individual here with HHS Los Angeles. Of course, off to a decent start so far here as well. Also picking up the 4 at the combination, now just sitting Galley or Los Angeles back. Four in this round, of course, come Sunday. Still be hoping that will see him through. And over the course of this week, we've got 18 riders, of which Michael is obviously one, that have taken part, and won a Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix in the past year. 18 out of this field have at some point stood on the top of the podium. And between those 18, they count for 66 wins across the history of the Longines Global Champions Tour. But today, Michael has to focus his attention to tomorrow and then on Sunday. Vaguely remember he's only brought Los Angeles with him, so he might just wait now till Sunday. Hopefully he's through. Otherwise, we'll see him tomorrow afternoon. But either way, next to go is Jana. Can stars have made a change then, as Jana Fredrika Meyer-Zinnemann with her 9-year-old, Iron Dame's Just a Dream, the 9-year-old gelding by Toulon. Irish Sportsman was actually out of a Cavalier Royale mare. Horse has come a long way over the course of the year, certainly showed the potential right back at the start of the year and then stepping into the five-star shows in the sort of middle of the summer, and then we've seen them jump their first Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix together in Vienna.
C'est un parcours aussi décisif pour Jean-Pierre Zimmerman et Rabat, Josh Green, 8
Garner there on a total of 8 in 75-80. Ride 5 days, just a dream. Brazil up next. Luis Felipe Nita de Azevedo riding Pandora Boy Z. This is a 12-year-old gelding by Presley Boy. Luis is still just 20 years of age. He's got already, though, a tremendous amount of experience in the sport. Already picking up 4. We still do not yet have a clear round, and now that becomes 8, the best we've seen so far. Mikey Pender's 4. This is just getting tougher. It is a track that gets tougher as you work your way through it. And that is a total of 12, 75, 52 on the clock. Penalties to score, 1 of 3 with 3 down. So that was a young man from Brazil, Luis Felipe Nita de Azevedo. 4 individuals still to jump, 7 gone of them so far. There's the first of the poles going down, just rolling away, sort of straightening the body up as they came off that turn. And again, I think it just looks odd, that fence, with the way it's, I like it. It just looks odd. We've seen one rider go so far for Great Britain. Now there's another. Oliver Fletcher, back for the second time today on BP Pocahontas. Jumped a nice clear round in the first competition today, delivering that clear round for his GCL team, the Istanbul Warriors. Just put them in play for later. But now they change things round, giving him the freedom of the individual slot with this gelding. Ollie, who put in some really strong performances when he was in New Jersey. Of course, the New York round, which seems an age ago now, having come via Vienna and Rome here to Rabat. nicely over the final part of that. Still a lot of fences to clear. You're only halfway, if they're halfway after the combination. Oh dear. Just a gentle little tap. It's quite a wide fence. It's 160 wide. And the last goes as well. Again, big stretch over the final fence. 160 wide as well. And unfortunately, in the second round, he's had 2 down compared to his clear round earlier on. So Oliver Fletcher there on a total of 8, 73.62. Michael Pender, Jack Whitaker, Oliver Fletcher. That's the current 1, 2, 3. 1 on 4, 2 on 8. See, just tapping the neck. I think he realised he was maybe just a fraction off where he wanted to be. Great effort from that young man, though. Say, young rider, European champion last year. Super talent. Well, as he heads out. In a moment, the debrief begins, and we turn our attention now to this man. He's done all right, this man. Of course he has. It's the world number 4. Christian Kukuk. Rizembek obviously feeling pretty strong today because they haven't brought him in, so they've stuck with what they know. Sepane Balibé is Christian's ride. Big champion, and of course, the winner of 4 Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix. Second, was he second, wasn't he, last year on the standings? Currently sitting 3rd on the overall standings. He's still got that chance come Sunday to sort of start trying to see if he can do anything about Harry Schmolders, who's still ahead of him in the overall standings. Of course, Jules Thomas has got this Longines Global Champions Tour series sealed. Christian had the win in London, and he's really flying here. He wants to put himself in a really good position for Sunday afternoon. He's looking for another win this year, and at the moment, this is day 1, round 1. And he's about to show the way with an absolutely brilliant round. 66.56. It is clear, it is quick, it is Christian Kukuk and Sepane Balibé delivering their best. I mean, talk about confident. Pleasure to watch. It really is. Well, we'll see what he can do. And obviously the individual standings run throughout the course of the class. And of course focus our attention on the teams predominantly, but Christian 66.56 at least gives us an idea of what is quick. He's had that 1 win this year on Checker in London. That'll be for Sunday though. Right, now it's the turn of another from Morocco, Ali Al-Arak, riding Douglas Mail. A little bit of a tap. Sadly not. You can see the crowd very much behind all of the riders, but certainly their home fans wanting their home riders to go well, as you would have anticipated. he can keep it to 4, he's going to keep himself in pretty good company for the moment. There's only 1 on 4. There's already been 1 clear. You can understand why. Of course, that's certainly showing that it takes a bit of jumping, and he's jumped in for 4. Goes into 3rd of the 10 combinations we've seen so far. He's obviously a bit slower than Mikey Pender, 16 in 2nd. Ali Alarak and Douglas Mayo. 3 more individuals to go at this stage of the afternoon. What a beautiful afternoon it is here in Rabat. Next to go, well, we've still got, of the final 3, 2 of them ride for Morocco, so the fans will be content. But we'll now have this partnership, of course, riding for Australia. One of the most successful riders on the Longines Global Champions Tour, of course, wife of the founder there on the side, Jans Top. This is then Edwina Thompson-Alexander. Second time today we see her on Iron Dames Gidello, the new ride to her stable. Full rider Catherine Eckermann, Edwina here. She jumped for a couple of time penalties a little earlier on in the first round, and this gelding certainly looks to be full of energy. And Edwina certainly working hard to keep the rhythm in check and just to keep that balance. She's doing a masterful job at the moment. Now comes into the final line. One fence left to go, and it could well be. And it is. Clear round number 2. Mission accomplished, 75.66 on the clock. Second clear in this second competition goes to Edwina Thompson-Alexander. And Iron Dames Gidello then. It's been a really positive day for those two. Was always looked to be a sort of steady approach, but to ensure they leave the fence standing and really build that relationship, putting in the strong foundations going forward. To Edwina, it means 2 clears. Christian Kukuk and Edwina Thompson-Alexander, 65.56 they lead. Edwina's time 75.66, 2 in the individual section now, and they both ride for Morocco. El Galibuka, the first of the 2. We have a kiss. An experienced mare, this, by Diamantis Emily. Got a few 155s, I'm not sure how many 160s they've jumped, but they have at least arrived here with pretty decent form. They've twice been in the top 6 in Grand Prix here in Rabat and in Al Jadiyah on that Moroccan tour over the past few weeks. Quite a nice forward pace to this round. So far, so good. If he gets away with it, he got a lovely shot on the turn back. This is a good, solid round. Oh no! Dug himself out of the hole at the second part of it, but unfortunately he had it wrong going in. And there's the last down as well, so it started well and then unravelled at the end. but he was, you know, full marks. He went for it. He was absolutely pushing to make sure they get a place in the Grand Prix on Sunday. More to go. Great effort. It's time. Quicker than Longines. Which means the next to go is the last individual before we turn our attention to the Global Champions League. Of course, as I've said before, they will all be individuals. But in the meantime, this is Abdelrabet Ouda riding back at Longines, and certainly known across the world being one of Morocco's most celebrated and competitive and successful riders. You can see again he's putting his pedal to the metal. He's really pushing this horse, although even he knows he's got to balance up off a corner, but he's got a horse here. This, oh dear, it's gone wrong coming into the combination. It might cost him all the way through, but only on 2 parts. I was about to say, this gelding always looks to be quite quick away from the fences. Again, just having to make a little bit of a correction. Got tougher and tougher in the end. It becomes a 28 score. So that was Abdelrabet Ouda, Baccarat Longines. So frustrated, I'm sure. There's more to come from that partnership. But either way, those are the individual riders that will not be involved in any of the GCL teams. So it gives us a sort of indication as to what to expect. Christian Kukuk has certainly thrown the gauntlet down in terms of showing us what's quick, because his time at 66.56 is what leads the way ahead of Edwina Thops-Alexander, and they are the 2 clear rounds as things stand. So from me, we'll take a pause and we'll come back soon with the Global Champions League. Welcome to Morocco, welcome to Rabat, and most importantly, welcome to round number 15 of this Global Champions League. It is the second round of jumping here in the Moroccan capital. This fabulous, historic, beautifully cultural rich city that has welcomed us back for the second year in succession. It is such a delight, a tremendous venue under the shadow of that fabulous Mohammed VI Tower that it sort of takes over the skyline above our heads. Rabat is a city where the modern world meets the ancient world, but it is the best of world show jumping that is on offer for us once more. As the greatest team competition, the Global Champions League has the perfect weather conditions to enjoy, and a competition that is on a knife edge going into the second round, and on a knife edge in terms of the overall standings when you look at how it's all stacked up. Last year's winners, the Rome Gladiators, what they would do to win again. The only team actually this year without a podium, they'll be hoping that is their year. Look how close it is at the top. There is nothing between Valkenswaard United and the Can Stars. Even Stevens today is going to make all the difference. It will divide them. Shanghai Swans and Prague Lions are looking like they're okay for the top four, but Risenbeck International maybe have found a way to feel like they have a little bit of hope after the first round here in Rabat. Of course, there is still another round to go, but when you look through all the 17 teams, the only one, last year's winners, the Rome Gladiators, missing from the podium over the opening 14 legs of this year. It has been a brilliant start to the GCL here in Rabat, and we can actually have a look at some of the highlights from that opening round, starting here just a short while ago. The Shanghai Swans, after the opening round on a score of 16 penalties. I mean, this is the team that, I remind you, were third, or are third, on the overall standings. And they've only got 16 points advantage on the overall standings ahead of Risenbeck. So they've got to be careful. Katarina Romberg, of course, ended up with Kuma on a total of 4, and Christian Ullmann really struggling today with Diagnix 2000Z, uncharacteristically on a total of 12. Madrid in Motion will be delighted. They were on the move. Of course, they are third after the opening round. A brilliant clear round to start things off from Jack Whitaker, a team that's 6-6 on the standings. Of course, he today with Jack, and then it was Eduardo also backing that up. Prague Lions, again, one of the teams that have to be a little bit careful with Risenbeck hunting them down. The team sitting in 4th in the standings. They're 12th after the opening round on a score of 12. It's given them at least 4 penalties over Shanghai Swans. But today, Niels Brunseels an okay on a total of 8. And Peter de Vos, who was the second rider out in the team there on Panomarenko, also picking up a score of 4. Can Stars certainly were hoping to keep the pressure on Valkenswaard today. They've made life difficult for themselves. They've got a score of 12 out of the opening round. They're down in 11th place after round 1. Second overall by virtue of wins on the standings, but of course dead level on points. And Jana Fredrika Meyer-Zinnemann and her score of 8 and Natalie Dean's score of 4 has seen a little bit of a change in the team with Anastasia Nilsson for the next round. But then Risenbeck International, there'll be no change in their team, I think, because they've gone again up into second place after the opening round. A team that hasn't yet won an event this year on the Global Champions League and are trying to push their way back up into the top 4 again this season. They are at the moment clear with Marco Kutscher and clear with Philipp Weishout, one of the 3 teams on a 0 score. Let's find out what happens today, because they are the ones that are pushing Shanghai Swans and, of course, the Prague Lions. And that, alongside the battle at the top between Valkenswaard United and the Can Stars, is going to be key. But then bring the word Saint-Tropez Pirates into it. They have sailed their ship to the top of the board and stolen a march on all of them with that performance in the opening round from the fabulous performances of Philippe Rosier and Thibaut Philippaz. And they're the team that everybody has to look to beat. Although there are 3 teams on 0, well done to Risenbeck International and Madrid in Motion. And then it's pretty tight, because you get into that little run of teams on 4, really just 1 fence away, and then all it takes is 1 down, and it could make a huge difference. It's a very different track to what was laid out for the first round of the competition. This second round is bigger. It is a much tougher test, and this is the course set out by Giuliano Vizzani. It is a Competition at 1.60 m. They start over that parallel and then down the 7-stride curve to fence number 2. Then it's a left-handed swing. Now the teapots is quite a narrow fence. It's an important turn, whether they look to try and come inside or not, but it is quite a narrow fence. Gold, all playing colours. Nice big open distance. Again, 7 strides. Long distances between the fences here. It's a big, long arena. This line's been reversed, so now tight turn back to the vases. It's quite a narrow fence, but it's still big at 155, and then 6 strides down to the combination. This time it's upright, parallel. 1 stride and 1 stride as they head through. Coming in at a height of 155, as it is when they get to the middle, again at 155. 8 meters 40 between the uprights. Obviously a little bit shorter coming out at 8 meters 10, and then again it's a big, wide power stretch for these horses as they come towards that final part of the combination. Round we continue, back to the white and black, 1.55 m. Then on this wide distance again, 8 strides, I believe it is, on that line to another very wide parallel. Fascinating little bit of the course here. It's like this rollback turn, the sort of crisscross of fences 9 back to 10. So you jump the upright with the water tray. Now the poles at fence 10 have been crossed, and it is one of those difficult turn to the right, turn to the left. Very hard to get your horse straight, and of course you're looking towards the next turn already, and it's certainly not been narrowed up or made any easier. The final line comes down in front of the Hospitality. Fence 11A starts the GCL double line off. It is a 2-strider double, 160 wide, 155 high, and you've got 11 meters 40 in the middle, and then it's 1 meter 60 coming out. Then it's a 5-stride distance that follows down to an absolutely maximum upright once again with the years of culture fence. And then this curved line to the Longines fence. Again, it's wide, but what it is narrow. What I mean by that is it's wide in width, but narrow in terms of the poles that are being used. That man's been thinking it out and designing this challenge. Giuliano Vitali, the Italian maestro, has set this challenge for these horses and riders here in the second round of the Global Champions League. And let's have a little look at the start list. So here we go. It is the Stockholm Hearts on that score of 26. They now go with Caroline Pederhoff-Pedersen and Malin Bayer-Johnson. The same riders, different horses this time for the winners from Jersey. Then it's the Doha Falcons, second last time out in Rome. Vildermere and Jerome Goury stay, but they changed the horses. And then it's to the Swans. Third on the standings, Katharina Romberg, Christian Ullmann, sticking with the riders, changing around the horses. Of course, 3 wins this year. What's going to happen today? The Monaco Comets, and that, of course, is the team in 15th with Ines Jolie and Oli Mulanateo. Paris Panthers looking for their second podium of the year. Celine Schumacher, Guido Moldi, an unchanged lineup of riders and horses. The Prague Lions, powered by the Czech Equestrian team. Niels Brunseels and Peter de Vos swap their rides, but the team with 2 wins this year need a good result today. Can Stars, certainly the team that need to lock down a strong result. Second in the standings, tied at the top. Anastasia Nielsen comes in now and joins Natalie Dean for the Can Stars, powered by the Iron Dames. The Basel Cosmopolitans with Geraldine Sturman and Andreas Skew swapping their horses round. 2 teams, we move on to the Scandinavian Vikings. They had a 3rd place this year. Now they're bringing in Sara Vinaklova's new horse, Rock and Roll, alongside Jörg Reeling. And then it's to the Mexico Amigos. Powered by H5 Stable, just the 1 podium in London. Emily Conter and Cohen Verique again, but they swap the horses over as the next team up is the New York Empire. Powered by Lugano Diamonds, 1 podium back in Shanghai. Again, Dennis Lynch and Scott Brash in the team, but again, we swap the horses for Brooklyn Heights and Hello Shadora Lady. Volkensvard United go unchanged. Oliver Lazarev, Marcus Enning, sticking with what they know. Don't change horses or change riders. The team at number 1. And then the Istanbul Warriors, powered by Carpe Diem. They bring Hassan Centric in alongside Simon Velez. The Road Gladiators, powered by Cavalier Toscana. Winners, of course, here last year. Peter Fredriksson swaps the horse, and Emmanuel Guardiano sticks where he is. Then into the teams on clears. Madrid in Motion. Manuel Fernandez Saro comes in alongside Edu for the Madrid in Motion team. Risenbeck International, powered by Horse Gym, changed nothing as Marco Kucher and Philippe Weishout go again, but it's a change of horses for the team at the top of the end of the opening round. Philippe Ronzière, Thibaut Philipparts, this time with Dirty Sweet and Lindro MBD for the Saint-Tropez Pirates as they look to try and win for the 2nd time this year. But this is how it starts. How does it finish? What will the points table look like? How can you believe after 15 rounds that we have crisscrossed the globe in the Global Champions League from Doha all the way to Rome a week ago, and the top two teams are so far tied on 277 apiece, only split by the fact that one team, Balkans Vaart, has 3 wins and Cannes has 2 wins. What's going to happen today? We've got it set up perfectly. Will the Shanghai Swans and the Prague Lions be able to consolidate their positions in the top 4, or is today Risenbeck's day? Can they, for the first time perhaps in 17 rounds of the Global Champions League, find their way back to winning form and in for another year to the top 4? There is a lot to work out, and when you consider Rabat in a couple of weeks' time will be the deciding leg, there are small points between each of the players, up and down over those 17 positions. And we are talking, each of these positions are worth hundreds of thousands of euros in prize money to the teams. Every point counts. We start with Caroline Renner Pedersen as the first up for the Stockholm Hearts, powered by H&M. We love horses. Tough start on that score of 26. The winners from Jersey City, a team, of course, sitting in 11th in the overall standings. It's going to be the first time in 4 years they've missed out on a top 4 place. Nicely done through the combination. Got a nice confident start here. By Gold Fever, there's Gelding. Jumped on the team in London and in New Jersey, and unfortunately just has that first part of the final line. I really believe this track just gets so much tougher towards the last third. The Stockholm Hearts, powered by H&M, We Love Horses, not having the easiest season. I'm sure they would love to somehow find their way into the top 10, if nothing else, but they start this round on a score of 4 for Caroline and Golden Eye. Well, onwards to the second rider in the team. Great view, isn't it, looking out there. Indiana still looking as lively as ever. I mean, this mare is, without question, you know, there are a few horses that would have to go into my Hall of Fame, in wherever that is in my head, and this would be one of them. H&M Indiana, now 17 years young and still flying high. Twice a winner of Grand Prix as well on this tour as the years. And Ellen Johnson didn't have it easy on Hennessy. I'm sure she'd love to put that behind her and put in a really strong round now with Indy. She's giving herself a little bit of room. She is aware that at the moment the clear round is the key to this. With only 2 so far over the course of the day, but we haven't seen the one in the league yet. And Indy is doing a fabulous job. H&M Indiana and Malachi Johnson doing what we see them do so often, delivering a clear round. And they certainly reminder of the class of that partnership. And 69-41, unfortunately, though, coming after what was a score of 26 in the opening round, and we'll finish them on a total of 30. It's a score that...
Another tough afternoon for the Stockholm Hearts, powered by H&M We Love Horses. 4 for Pedersen, a clear for Malenberg and Jonsson, but they find themselves on 30 penalties overall. Difficult to see them from here finishing anywhere near mid-table at best. But of course, still a long way to go. A long afternoon here ahead of us in Rabat. Doha Falcons in the ring next. If you want to see what happens here in Rabat for stage 15 of the 2025 GCL, this is round 2. Sign up for a GCTV live pass and come join us here in Morocco.